All right. Let me expand it again. Hello, everyone. I'm here outside of Portland, Oregon. I work for a Sitka technology group. I'm Warren Lockwood. The team is Brian Knowles, who runs it, and the one who does all the work, our developer, is Andy Phoenix, who is stationed in Belfast, Ireland. So I'm going to quickly talk about release 4.4 of Miradi. Since we have one developer, the three things that we're responsible for were related to Miradi, which is the Miradi.org website, where we keep the community information that this webinar will be stored at. The Miradi Share website, which handles about 700 Miradi projects and several dozen programs, and also the Miradi desktop. They're all handled by one developer, Andy Phoenix, and so we need to develop sequentially. And in the last year, actually, the focus has been on the Miradi desktop, and in particular, the goals of the release that are listed on this page. The main goal of release 4.4, which, if everything goes well, will actually be released this Friday. If I was a betting man, it might be released next week, but it's earlier than has been advertised in the last webinar. We're right on the cusp of the release. The main goal was to share work plan data with Miradi Share, which entailed a lot of work. You have to align a lot of what Miradi can do to make cross-program work planning work in Miradi Share, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. The main things would be the program taxonomy capability in Miradi Share, which lets any program classify their data as it suits their organization. And when you get into work planning, that brings up the whole realm of charts of accounts, accounting data. So one of the big things that happens with this Miradi is that you can develop segmented accounting codes along with other classifications that are program specific that will apply to the Miradi assignments and expenses of a work plan. A second goal was to enable high-level time frame planning. For anyone who had used the who and when tabs of the current Miradi, they find at one point, if they get into the work planning, a lot of it gets turned off and disabled. It drove some people nuts. So we addressed that issue. The third was to build monitoring work plans the same way as action work plans, with strategies, activities, and tasks. There have been users who never quite could figure out, or it didn't feel right to be trying to apply your work planning to an indicator or work planning to methods, that you're monitoring activities. It seemed to make sense that they should apply to monitoring activities rather than to indicators. And so we created a new factor of monitoring activity in this new release. And I'll talk more about that later too. Generally, to make the work plan table easier to read, navigate, understand, and edit. And of course, ensure that the people that use the work plan today see reports that look and total just like they did in the past work plan when they're migrated to the new release. The other goal was to selectively add content, and the most significant addition there were progress reports, which were added to both at the project level and to conceptual diagrams and results chains. Okay, the second slide, work plan factor changes. These are new factors or changed factors in the new release of Miradi. The action work plan, we use the same factors. There's a tree, a hierarchy of results chain strategies, activities, and tasks. In the past, you could keep adding tasks, turtles all the way down, so to speak, subtasks and more subtasks. And we eliminated that. The Miradi team agreed that we could go stick to these first 3 levels of strategies, activities, and tasks and cover most of the needs at the most optimal cost. Number 2, as I said, make monitoring work plans like action plans. We changed the purple oval, which used to represent methods, and it's now a monitoring activity. A monitoring activity is essentially identical to a regular yellow oval activity, with the exception of the color. And they can be used and report to yellow strategies. We don't have a purple strategy. That was voted down, so we still have one yellow strategy that can have monitoring activities reporting to them and or regular yellow activities at the same time. So at the bottom you see this is the way it is today in the 4.3, where an action work plan would have strategies, yellow activities, tasks, and subtasks, and a monitoring activity would have indicators and methods. In 4.4, both work plans start with strategies and have yellow activities or purple activities, and can have one level of tasks. And you can have multiple subtasks under the monitoring activities too. We also added, as number 3 says, a link between the indicators and the monitoring activities. The benefit here, you may see quickly, is that you can have one monitoring activity support multiple indicators in your planning. So you can keep it 1-to-1, as was kind of forced in the existing situation. Methods have been sort of recast to apply specifically to the technique of gathering your measurements, the technique of the indicator. It doesn't have to do with, you don't apply people to methods or expenses any longer.
Hey, Warren, just a time check. We have about 5 minutes left.
Okay, thank you. The next page is a work plan data model. I'll make sure this gets into Miradi.org. This is the structure of the work plan: results chain, strategy, activity, tasks. We have added something called the time frame, which is a high-level time span that you can apply to any of the action items. We call the strategies, activities, and tasks all action items. All of them can have progress reports. All of them, if you are within a Miradi Share program, can have program taxonomies. And then all of them can also have resource assignments and expenses applied to them. Some of the features added in 4.4, the time frame, as I mentioned, to look at it quickly. If any of the actions, this is 4.4, the time frame looks similar to the when. You can choose your span of time, and it's not, and it's an independent time that you could apply at the diagram view, at the strategic plan view, and it carries on to the work planning, and so it's independent of what is developed as you build your work units for assignments and expenses. We've added work unit totals and expense totals by results chain. Previously, the totals rolled up only to the strategy level. As we added progress reports for projects and diagrams. We removed shareable activities and methods. The sharing required certain assumptions about allocations of costs, which can be constraining if you're, and it was just the Miradi team, Nick leading the charge, said this sharing stuff is actually not working out well. So they've been split, and if you have shared activities in the past, a copy is made and a proportional split is made in the migration from 4.3 to 4.4. And we remove multiple levels of tasks. So if you had lower level tasks, they have been moved up to the one task level that exists. Finally, cost roll-up methods in 4.4 are different too. I won't go in big detail here. It's just to say that in the new method 4.4, all levels of costs are displayed and included in totals. Anyone who's used the 4.3 knows that there are crossed out numbers, that there's overrides. If you get into the detail, your higher level planning is trumped by the lower level costs. That creates some difficulties in actually layering your costs. If the lower level always wins, then the higher level is not displayed. So we have removed that, and so we are counting, we're including all levels that are entered. And so in the migration to 4.4, those hidden entries are deleted because we want the totals to end up being the same as you move from 4.3 to 4.4. So that's a lot to pack in 10 minutes. Any questions that I could address? There we are.
So Warren, it looks like Nick is asking that you mention the new guidance for work planning.
We have, Nick may be talking about the wizards. We've updated that. We have in the community page in Miradi.org, we also have guidance that Nick has prepared on the work planning that you can go there and get a clean set of slides showing step-by-step how to do the work planning. Those step-by-step guides have also been integrated into the wizard of Miradi, the Miradi application. A more elaborated version called the technical brief of what I've just shown you is also in Miradi.org. So you can read the details of the release, the improvements we've made and the fixes. So, Carrie?
So I just posted the community page on Miradi.org, and the intro to work planning, I think that you mentioned, Warren, is down here at the bottom.
Right, and I gave an abbreviated version of what's called the technical brief, which is right below it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So any additional last questions for Warren about the new release? So I just wanted to point people to, Laura put in some nice lengthy answers to Carl's question in the Q&A box, and we will try and figure out a way to, at lengthy, I meant that's a good thing, good detailed answers. So we'll try and figure out a way to post this also on the community page if possible. These are recorded as part of this session, but you all should be able to read them right now while we're still live as well by clicking on that Q&A link. So I'll just put out an open call. We have 1 or 2 minutes. If anyone has any last questions for any of the panelists, please type them now. Oh, and Nick says, Warren, can you please flash up the new spatial ability in Miradi Share? So maybe while I am wrapping up this meeting, Warren, you can share your screen and post the spatial ability in Miradi Share. So just to wrap this up, So this is our third of this Miradi User Group sessions, and you can find links to all of these presentations on the community page at miradi.org. We're trying to have these quarterly. I expect, given that this one is in October, we'll probably aim for early in the new year, probably January or February of 2017. And I don't think we've selected a topic at this point, but if anyone wants to suggest a topic in the chat box right now or in the Q&A section, we can record those and add those to our list of considerations. So Warren, were you able to post up that spatial?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, but we can't see your screen.
Okay, I will. I'm not quite there yet. So
okay, so I'll just acknowledge that we're at the end of our hour. So if anyone needs to sign off or wants to sign off, please go ahead and do that. And thank you all for signing in. We had about 27 participants today, which is excellent. I do see a hand going up. Oh, Dan Salzer has a hand going up, but I don't know. He just said thank you. Thanks to all the panelists for a great session today. And it looks like Warren is posting his spatial screen. We can see your screen, Warren.
All right. Let's see. So we are just starting with this. I'm in a bush heritage map. We can now create boundaries around, this is a program boundary around bush heritage. We're also adding first stages of creating boundaries for each of our project. And so if you're looking at a program map, you can start viewing the various locations of the projects. These are our first steps. We will soon have footprints, as we call them, the boundary squares or points or lines to represent the main factors, targets, threats, strategies, and activities. And it will build from there. So we're expecting within the next month that we'll have in production that set of geographical features for program, for project, and for the main 4 factors of targets, threats, strategies, and activities. So
all right, great. Thanks, Warren. I look forward to seeing a developer presentation on that. Do you think in 3 months that could be a developer presentation, or are we looking at a longer?
absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.